नमः सर्वेभ्यः। लघुसिद्धान्तकौमुद्याः अस्मिन् विशेषवर्गे सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। नत्वा सरस्वतीं देवीं शुद्धां गुण्यां करोम्यहम् पाणिनीयप्रवेशाय लघुसिद्धान्तकौमुदीम्। अस्माभिः लघुसिद्धान्तकौमुद्याः अस्मिन् द्वितीयभागे प्रथमः खण्डः समाप्तः। यद्यपि शास्त्राध्ययनं नित्यकर्म भवति, तत्र अखण्डरूपेण निरन्तररूपेण क्रियते चेदेव शास्त्रम् अनुग्रहं करोति इति अस्माकं सर्वेषामपि प्रत्ययः। स तु दीर्घकाल नैरन्तर्य सत्कार आसेवितः दृढभूमिः इति क्वचिदुच्यते। सर्वस्यापि शास्त्रस्य अध्ययने एते त्रयः अंशाः अत्यन्तं मुख्याः भवन्ति। दीर्घकालः, क्रैश कोर्स शास्त्रे न शक्यते। तत्र बहोः कालस्य प्रयत्नेनैव शास्त्रं सिद्ध्यति, तदपि नैरन्तर्येण उपासनीयं शास्त्रम्। अद्य किञ्चित्, सप्ताहानन्तरं किञ्चित्, मासानन्तरं किञ्चित् इति प्रयत्नेन न सिद्ध्यति। प्रतिवर्षं, प्रतिमासं, प्रतिदिनं, प्रतिघण्टं यथा 24/7 इत्युच्यते, तथा प्रयत्नः क्रियते चेदेव शास्त्रं सिद्ध्यति। तत्तु अस्ति। महान्तः ये शास्त्रविदः सन्ति ते तादृशेनैव प्रयत्नेन भगवत्याः सरस्वत्याः कटाक्षपात्राणि अभूवन् इत्यत्र नास्ति सन्देहः। अतः दीर्घकालस्य प्रयत्नः, निरन्तरप्रयत्नः, पुनश्च सत्कारः, श्रद्धायुक्तेन चित्तेन सेवनं क्रियते चेत् शास्त्रं सिद्ध्यति। अस्माभिः तु तत्र तस्यां दिशि गन्तुं प्रयत्नः क्रियमाणः अस्ति। मध्ये मध्ये किमुच्यते, प्रत्यहं प्रत्यवेक्षेत नरश्चरितमात्मनः इत्यस्ति। अतः किम् अधीतम् इति किञ्चित् विचार्य अग्रे गन्तुं परीक्षा अथवा भागः इत्यादि खण्डाः भवन्ति। व्यावहारिकदृष्ट्या तेषाम् उपयोगः अस्ति। लक्ष्यं तु कुत्र इति ज्ञात्वा वयम् अग्रे सरामः। अद्य वयं चतुर्थस्य अध्यायस्य आरम्भं करिष्यामः। अस्य वर्गस्य अनन्तरं तत्र नूतनपाठाः भविष्यन्ति। द्वितीयखण्डे अस्माभिः अजन्तपुल्लिङ्गानां शिष्टः भागः, अजन्तस्त्रीलिङ्गाः, अजन्तनपुंसकलिङ्गाः सर्वेपि अधीयन्ते। तत्र किमर्थम् एवम् अजन्तपुल्लिङ्गानां कृते वस्तुतः तत्र अध्यायचतुष्टयं भवति, किन्तु स्त्रीलिङ्गानाम् एक एव अध्यायः, नपुंसकलिङ्गानाम् एक एव अध्यायः इति। किमर्थमिति चेत् यानि यानि सूत्राणि अपेक्षितानि तानि प्रायः पुल्लिङ्गप्रकरणे एव अधीतानि भवन्ति। यदा वयं स्त्रीलिङ्गप्रकरणं, नपुंसकलिङ्गप्रकरणं वा गच्छामः, नूतनसूत्राणि अत्यन्तं न्यूनानि भवन्ति। पूर्वम् अधीतस्य अप्लिकेशन् एव भवति। अतः शब्दप्रकरणे अजन्तेष्वपि हलन्तेष्वपि पुल्लिङ्गभागः महान् भवति, स्त्री नपुंसकलिङ्गभागाः न्यूनाः एव। अतः अस्मिन् द्वितीयखण्डे ईकारान्तेभ्यः आरभ्य सर्वे अजन्तपुल्लिङ्गाः चतुर्थाध्याये अध्येष्यन्ते। पञ्चमाध्याये स्त्रीलिङ्गशब्दाः, पुनश्च षष्ठाध्याये नपुंसकलिङ्गशब्दाः। तेन द्वितीयः खण्डः समाप्स्यते। तेन सह अष्टाध्याय्याः सप्तमाध्यायस्य प्रथमपादम् अपि वयं पठामः। अद्य नूतन दृश्यांशाः आरोप्यन्ते। अधीत्य अग्रिमसप्ताहे पूर्ववत् तत्र अभ्यासवर्गः एवं वाग्वर्धिनीवर्गः इति प्रचलिष्यति। अद्य वयम् इदानीं गतसप्ताहे या परीक्षा आसीत् तस्य प्रश्नानाम् उत्तराणां चर्चां कुर्मः। तत्र क्वापि सन्देहः अस्ति चेत् अथवा एतदतिरिच्य वा अध्यायत्रये कुत्रापि सन्देहः अस्ति चेत् प्रष्टुमर्हन्ति। तत्र आदौ प्रायः सर्वे प्रश्नाः सरलाः एव, किन्तु मध्ये केऽपि विशेषांशाः सन्ति चेत् वक्ष्यामि। सुप्रत्ययाः कति? तत्र प्रायः कस्यापि सन्देहः न स्यात्। 21 सुप्रत्ययाः, 21। सु औजस् अम् औक्षस् टाभ्यां भिस् ङेभ्यां भिस् ङसिभ्यां भिस् ङसोसां ङियोस्सुप् इति 21 प्रत्ययाः। तत्र सम्बोधनप्रथमा इति या विभक्तिः उच्यते तस्य पृथक् प्रत्ययाः न सन्ति। प्रथमा विभक्तेः प्रश्नाः एव प्रत्ययाः एव भवन्ति। हे राम सु अत्र अङ्गं किम्? अत्र राम इत्येव अङ्गम्। अङ्गसंज्ञा यस्मात् प्रत्ययविधिस्तदादिप्रत्ययेऽङ्गम् इति। तत्र it defines both the starting border and the ending border of the anga. अत्र हे इति संबोधनसूचकमेव, किन्तु वस्तुतः प्रातिपदिकमस्ति राम इति। ज्ञाप् प्रातिपदिकात् सुप्रत्ययानां योजनम्। अतः प्रातिपदिकसंज्ञा तु रामशब्दस्यैव अस्ति। राम इत्यस्मादेव सुप्रत्ययः विहितः। अतः तदादि राम इत्येव अङ्गं भवति, हे राम इति न भवति। प्रत्ययः तु अङ्गे नान्तर्भवति इति विवेकः। अङ्गस्य ज्ञानं बहु मुख्यं भवति। आदेशः कदा स्थानिवद् भवति? डैरेक्ट् क्वेश्चन्। अनल्विधौ स्थानिवदादेशः अनल्विधौ। अदन्तात् सर्वनाम्नः परस्य ङे प्रत्ययस्य सर्वनाम्नस्मै इत्यनेन स्मायादेशः। पञ्चमप्रश्ने केषाञ्चित् सन्देहः। पूर्वादीनां सर्वनामसंज्ञा कदा विकल्प्यते इति प्रश्नः। किम् उत्तरम्? केऽपि विवरितुमिच्छन्ति? यस्, अरिन्दम महोदय।
जसि जसि
जसि परे कथं?
संज्ञासूत्रं। सो विभाषा जसि प्रथमचरं तयाल्पर्थ कतिपय नियमाश्च
पूर्वपरावर दक्षिणोत्तरापराधराणि व्यवस्थायाम् असंज्ञायाम् इत्यनेन जसि परे एव सर्वनाम संज्ञा विकल्पः। अग्रे पूर्वादिभ्यो नवभ्यो वा इति सूत्रेण ङसि ङसोः ङसि ङ्योः स्मात् तस्मिन् आदेशविकल्पः उच्यते, किन्तु तत्र सर्वनाम संज्ञा विकल्पः इति नास्ति। जसि परे एव संज्ञा विकल्पः उच्यते सूत्रेण। पूर्वे पूर्वाः इति रूपद्वयं। रूपद्वयं तु पञ्चमी सप्तमी उभयोरपि भवति। पूर्वस्मात् पूर्वात् पूर्वस्मिन् पूर्वे इति। किन्तु तत्र नसिंयोः स्मात्स्मिनौ पूर्वादिभ्यो नवभ्यो वा इत्यनेन आदेशस्य विकल्पः दत्तः, सर्वनामसंज्ञाविकल्पस्तु न दत्तः। अस्तु, अग्रे जराशब्दस्य जरसादेशः अजादौ विभक्तौ भवति। आङो नास्त्रियाम् इति सूत्रं घिसंज्ञाम् आश्रित्य प्रवर्तते। घिसंज्ञकात् परस्य आङः नादेशः। गतिशब्दात् परस्य जसः लुक् षट् संज्ञाम् आश्रित्य प्रवर्तते। यद्यपि गतिशब्दस्य संख्या संज्ञा अपि अस्ति, तथापि सूत्रे षड्भ्यो लुक् इत्यनेन षट् संज्ञाम् आश्रित्यैव लुग् विधीयते, न तु संख्या संज्ञाम् आश्रित्य। सखी शब्दस्य सुप्रत्यये परे सख्यरसम्बुद्धौ इत्यनेन अनङ् आदेशः। इण् कोः इत्यधिकारः आदेशप्रत्यययोः इति सूत्रे अस्ति, अतः इण् कवर्ग, कु इत्यनेन कवर्गः। सर्वदा स्मर्तव्यं षत्वस्य प्रसक्तिः तु तत्रैव भवति यत्र सकारात् पूर्वम् इण् वर्णः, अकारं विहाय अन्ये स्वराः अथवा कु कवर्गः या वा लण् पर्यन्तम् इण् वर्णः अस्ति चेत्। सम्बुद्धिसंज्ञा एकवचनं सम्बुद्धिः, अतः प्रथमा एकवचनस्यैव। सम्बोधने या प्रथमा तस्याः एकवचनस्यैव सम्बुद्धिसंज्ञा भवति। द्वि बहुवचनयोः नास्ति सम्बुद्धिसंज्ञा। सखी अम्, अत्र अम् इत्यस्य पदसंज्ञा न भवति। पदसंज्ञा सुप् तिङ् अन्तं पदं, सुबन्तस्य पदसंज्ञा। प्रत्ययः इति संज्ञा तु प्रत्ययाधिकारे पठितानां सर्वेषामपि अस्ति, अतः अम् इत्यस्य प्रत्ययसंज्ञा अस्ति। विभक्तिश्च इति सूत्रेण विभक्तिसंज्ञा अस्ति। सुट् अनपुंसकस्य इत्यनेन सर्वनामस्थानसंज्ञा अपि अस्ति। उपधा विधायकम् अलोन्त्यात् पूर्व उपधा इति। सख्यौ इति सप्तमी एकवचन रूपं, तत्र ङि ओ सुप् ङि प्रत्ययः। परस्मिन् ङसिंयोः स्मात्स्मिनौ इति स्मिन्नादेशः। सर्व आम्, आमि सर्वनाम्नः सुट् इत्यनेन सुडागमः बहुवचने झल्येत् इति एत्वं षत्वं सर्वेषाम् इति रूपम्। विश्वपा ङस्, आतो धातोः इत्यनेन आकारलोपे ऋत्वविसर्गयोः विश्वपः इति रूपम्। सखी औ, सख्युरसम्बुद्धौ इति णिद्वद्भावः। तमाश्रित्य अचोयणिति इति वृद्धिः। एचोयवायावः इति आयादेशः सखायौ। पति ङे, अत्र यणादेशे कृते पत्ये इति रूपम्। त्रि आम् त्रेस्त्रयः इति त्रयादेशः। ह्रस्वनद्यापोनुट् इति नुडागमः। नामीति दीर्घः त्रयाणाम्। कोऽपि सन्देहः? ओके। भिस् प्रत्ययस्य ऐसादेशे कृते सः स्थानिवद्भावेन झलादिप्रत्ययः इति परिगणयितुं शक्यः। Can somebody give the answer and explain? Is it true or false? किमर्थम्? प्रवीणा भगिनी। You have to unmute yourself. P.S. Krishnan Mahoday.
This pratyayasya ऐस् आदेशः क्रियते न इत्येव स्थानियोद्भावः. Then it will take vruddhi akarat.
Now can I say his ice is jhaladi by sthanivat bhava?
This is jaladi, but it is replaced by ice. Entire.
But adeshah sthanivat bhavati.
Adesha sthanivat bhavati.
So can I say since his the sthani is jhaladi, can the adesha be considered as jhaladi?
No idea. No idea.
Okay. Rama Gururajan.
नमस्ते भगिनी, श्रूयते वा? एतद् अजादि प्रत्ययः एव इति परिगण्यते. किमर्थं चेत् एकोपि कार्यं कर्तुं पूर्वमेव तत्र इत् संज्ञा कार्यं करोति. अतः
अत्र इत् संज्ञा नास्ति किल?
नास्ति, क्षम्यताम्. एतद् आमां तत्र ऐस् इति अजादि इति एव परिगण्यते.
किमर्थम् इति? Why can I not say it is
अल्लाश्रित कर्मः? अल्लाश्रित जन्म.
Al. So the jhaladitva is an alashraya dharma. It depends on a single letter which is bhakara. Right? So sthanivat bhavena alnishthasya dharmasya atideshah kartum na shakyate. That is the key point. Alnishthatvad jhaladitvam iti alnishtha dharma. It depends on a single letter which is bha. It is not a property of bhis as such. It is dependent on the single letter bha, and therefore it cannot be inherited by sthanivat bhava. Since bhis is a pratyaya, you can say ais is a pratyaya. Since bhis has vibhakti samya, we can say ais is a vibhakti pratyaya. Since bhis is a sup pratyaya, we can say ais is a sup pratyaya. So all these attributes, pratyaya, sup, vibhakti, they are all dependent on the samudaya called bhis, whereas determination of jhaladi is dependent on a single letter which is bha. It is an alnishtha dharma. Sthanivat bhava does not operate for alnishtha dharma, right? Because of analvidhau. Okay, next. Vibhakti pratyaya ngakarasya itsamya na bhavati. Shuddham va ashuddham va. Maithili. Bhagini.
नमस्कार महोदय. इत्संज्ञा भवति न विभक्तौ तुस्माः इति सूत्रेण सवर्ग सकारस्य मकारस्य इत्संज्ञा न भवति, अतः नकारस्य इत्संज्ञा भवति.
सम्यक्. So tu s m तेषामेव इत्संज्ञा निषेधः, ङकारस्य नास्ति. अत एव ङे ङसि ङस्ङि सर्वत्रापि ङकारस्य इत्संज्ञा भवति. टा इति अजादि प्रत्ययः. महालक्ष्मी.
नमस्ते भगिनि. आं शुद्धं. टा इति चुटु इत्यनेन नकारस्य इत्संज्ञा भवति. आ इति शिष्यते, अतः अजादि.
Correct. So sarvadapi, for determining any adi, anta letters, we always have to remove the it samya letters and then only determine. It's a standard rule of Vyakarana. You cannot look at the Aupadeshika Rupa, the original form, and say this is Jaladi, this is Ajadi, etc. So remove the it samya and then check. If there is an Adesha, of course, what is there in the Adesha will also apply. So A is an Ajadi Pratyaya because the Takara is removed by Lopa, Chutu. Right? So next one. Shiva Subramanyam Mahodaya.
श्रूयते वा भगिनि?
श्रूयते.
कति शब्दस्य सुबन्तरूपेषु घी संज्ञका प्रयुक्तं किमपि कार्यं न शुद्धमेव कति शब्दस्य नित्य बहुवचन अन्तत्वात् तेषां प्रसक्तिः न
Samyak. So ghisamya prayukta karyas in subantas are gherngiti, angonastriyam and achaghehe. All of them apply to the ekavachana pratyayas only from tritiya till saptami. So there is no karya on bahuvachana pratyaya, and since kati is a nitya bahuvachananta shabda, it does not take part in any operation related to ghi samya. Okay, last one, Jyoti. Jyoti Bhagini, please unmute yourself. Jayashri Bhagini.
Hello. Namaste. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. It says, which question you are asking? 24th, is it?
25. Vyakarana Shastre Sarvatra Ekasya Ekaiva.
That is Ashuddham. Only in Ekasanya, whatever is there, that will be Ekasanya. There are other sutras there are other places where two sangyas are also operating.
Something.
For example, in Daticha, Sankhya as well as Shat.
Correct. So there are multiple cases where we can have multiple samyas on the same particle. Right? Say for example, for itself, we saw it is Sarvanamasthana, it is Pratyaya, it is Vibhakti, and so on. Right? So it is only within that adhikara that there is a restriction on the samya. Ekasya ekaiva samya is only in akadara deka samya, not everywhere. Okay. Next, the one section which was probably a bit confusing. Purva Swanema Antara. Ramanathan Mahodaya. Which is the odd man out. Right. So for odd man, we have to see where three particles share a property which is not shared by the fourth one. Right. So it's actually as challenging to set a question for this section as it is to answer, because I will need to think of what are the other possible ways in which 200 people are thinking, and sometimes it does go awry because you would not have thought of some angle in which somebody else is thinking. Anyway, let us see if there are other ways. You're always welcome to tell if you are looking it from a different angle. Please let me know. It's absolutely fine. But whatever you try has to, as I say, it should apply to all three and not apply to one of them. That is the only criteria. Yes, Sugandha Bhagini.
There are two options, madam.
Namaste.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Ramanathan Mahodaya. I asked you.
One is he Vishwamaha. Sulopakana Bhavati.
No, this
Sloka
one.
न भवति।
Purva sva nema antara.
नेम नेम एव प्राप्तय भाषा अप्राप्तय भाषा भवन्ति। पूर्व अन्तरसव प्राप्तय भाषा एव भवति।
Astu. More than the prapta vibhasha, it is like nema has vibhasha only in jas. Prathama charama tayalpartha katipaya nemascha ityanena jasi eva sarvanama samya vikalpah asti. Anyatra sarvatrapi sarva shabdavad rupani bhavanti nema shabdasya. Neme nemaha. That is the only case where it has two forms. Whereas for purva, sva and antara, jasi sarvanama samya vikalpah asti. पूर्व परावर स्वमज्ञातिधनाख्यायाम् अन्तरं बहिर्योगोपसंव्यानयोः इति आल्सो पूर्वादिभ्यो नवभ्यो वा इत्यनेन ङसिञ्योः आदेशः विकल्प्यते. So there are three cases in which purva, swa and antara have two forms, whereas nema has only in one. Also Purva, Sva and Antara, they get Sarvanama Samya only in a specific Artha. Artha Visheshe eva Sarvanama Samya bhavati. Nema Shabdasya tu tatra tatha etan nasti. So Nema iti Ganasutre nasti. Tadapi bhavitum arhati. So there is no Gana Sutra, whereas Purvapara etc. they are included in the Gana Sutras. Okay. Okay, next one. He Rama, He Vishwapaha, He Hare, He Sakhe. I think this one is pretty evident and easy. Yeah, Sugandha Magini. Sorry.
Samuhetarpadam He Rama तदेव भगिनि उत्तरं तु हे विश्वपाः एङ् ह्रस्वात् सम्बुद्धेः इत्यनेन हल् लुप्यते अतः ह्रस्वान्तमपि नास्ति एङन्तमपि नास्ति इति कारणेन हे विश्वपाः इत्यत्र हल् न लुप्यते अतः हे विश्वपाः इत्येव शुद्धम् उत्तरम्.
Samyak. So in all the other cases we have the lopa of the sambuddhi by eng hrasvat sambuddheha. Whereas in Vishwapa, since it is not eng and not harasva, there is no lopa. Okay. The next one, Shailaja again. Pratamayoh purva savarnaha khyatyaat parasya ami purvaha ngasingasoscha. Shailaja Bhagini, can you unmute yourself? Rupa Sudha Bhagini.
Namaste Mahodaya. प्रथमयो पूर्वसवर्णः अमिपूर्वः नसिंहसोश्च समानम् क्यथात् परस्य अङ्ग प्रत्ययस्य कार्यम्
अन्यत्रयम्
मूलम् अङ्गस्य कार्याणि
अङ्गस्य कार्यं न प्रथमयोः पूर्वसवर्णः अमिपूर्वः उत्तरं युक्तम् एकादेशः. So all the other three are
एकादेशः.
सत्यं पूर्वपरयोः अकः प्रथमयोरचि पूर्वपरयोः पूर्वसवर्णदीर्घः एकादेशः. ख्यत्यात् परस्य इत्यत्र केवलस्य प्रत्ययस्य अकारस्य उकारादेशः भवति.
उकारादेशः. एकं सन्देहमस्ति भगिनि.
वदतु.
शब्दद्वयोः युगलानि प्रश्नानां शब्दद्वयोः मध्ये युगलानां ज्ञातुं शक्नोमि, किन्तु सूत्रयोः मध्ये कथं कर्तव्यम् इति ज्ञातुं मम प्रश्न एव अशुद्धं भवेत्.
चिन्ता नास्ति, पुरियले. What did you want to ask?
அதான் சப்தங்களுக்கு நடுவுல யுகலம் நீங்க கேட்டிருந்தீங்க. இப்ப பதி சகி சப்தத்துக்கு நடுவுல எப்படி யுகலம் ரெண்டு சமமான கிரியா நடக்குதுன்னு கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. ஆனா சூத்திரத்துக்கு நடுவுல நடக்குது, அது எப்படிங்கிறது எனக்கு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணிக்க முடியல. அதுதான் எனக்கு கொஞ்சம் மிஸ்டேக் ஆயிடுச்சு.
அப்படியா?
ஒரு சூத்திரத்துக்கும் இன்னொரு சூத்திரத்துக்கும் நடுவுல கேட்டிருந்தாங்க.
ஆமா, அது நான் வரேன், அங்க வரேன். we will discuss.
அது ஒண்ணுதான் எனக்கு டவுட். அதை கொஞ்சம் புரியல. அந்த ரெண்டு சூத்திரங்கள் வரும்போது கிரியா எப்படி சமானமாவோ டிஃபரெண்டாவோ வருதுன்னு தெரியும்.
சொல்றேன். வெல்கம் டு தட்.
धन्यवादः.
So atra pratamayoh purvasavarnah amipurvah and ngasigasoscha, all three are ekadeshas, right? So they replace both the purva and the para, whereas khyatiyat parasya is only the karya for the para. So there's one possible different answer for 27. So somebody is saying in He Rama there is no change in pratipadika. So can we select that as the answer? Okay, is it possible? He Rama, there is no change in pratipadika, so can we have that as the answer? If not, why not? Correct. Vishwapa also has no change in pratipadika. So sambuddhi is there, because of which the pratyaya is getting rutva and visarga, but there is no change in the pratipadika even in Vishwapa, right? So in Hari and Sakhi, correct, there is a guna on the pratipadika, so there is a ekara. But in neither in Rama nor in Vishwapa do we have any karya on the pratipadika. So there is no karya on the pratipadika in both of them, so we cannot select the He Rama as the answer. It is padam. Which is padam? He Rama is padam. All of these are padas, right? So He Rama is padam, He Vishwapaha, He Hare, He Sakhe, all of them are padas. Okay, so next one. So as far as I can see, all these three we cannot have any other answer. So au, jas, and shas. Varun.
नमो नमः महोदय। श्रूयते वा?
श्रूयते।
औ जस् अम् इति त्रीणि सुट्प्रत्ययहारे अन्तर्भवन्ति, अतः तेषां सर्वनाम स्थान संज्ञा भवति। शस् इति अस्य सर्वनाम स्थान संज्ञा न भवति, अतः शस् इति समूहे तर्पण।
उत्तमम्. So au, jas and they are all the sarvanama sthana pratyayas by Sudanapumsakasya, whereas shas is not a sarvanama sthana samyaka pratyaya, right? In case context of pullinga, since we are studying the Ajanta pullinga prakarana, right? So if we go to Napumsakalinga, jas and shas will be sarvanamasthana, but both au and are not sarvanamasthana. So we cannot decide based on that one. Okay. So are there any other answers for this? Yes, Jai Shri Bhagini.
Namaste, Bhagini. I don't know why I got a very weird thought. I felt au is the odd man out because all the other three come as akara, means jas, shas, and I don't know why I had that odd, weird thought.
Okay, interesting. Akaradi yes. That's a possible one. I mean, I cannot negate that. I thought of Ajadi, but all of them are Ajadis, and therefore you cannot take it out. But yeah, I mean, that is a possible one. Did anybody else think that way? Au doesn't have its samya. Also doesn't have its samya. Actually, right? So ityatra itsamya na bhavati. Prapti to asti, but there is no itsamya in also. Okay. Yes, Varun.
नमस्ते भगिनी हे राम हे हरे हे सखे इति अत्र प्रातिपदिक संज्ञा अपि अस्ति प्रत्ययस्य लोपानन्तरं हे विश्वपाः इति अत्र प्रातिपदिक संज्ञा नास्ति यतोहि पद संज्ञा तो अस्ति किन्तु प्रातिपदिक संज्ञा नास्ति हे राम हे हरे हे सखे इति एतेषां त्रयाणां प्रातिपदिक संज्ञा अस्ति
सत्यं तदपि अस्ति परसंज्ञा प्रातिपदिकसंज्ञा उभयमस्ति प्रत्ययस्य लुप्तत्वात् हे विश्वपाः इत्यत्र तु पदसंज्ञा एव भवति प्रातिपदिकसंज्ञा न तत्र कारणं तत्र प्रत्ययलोपः so the key factor is that because of the pratyaya getting deleted. Yeah, you can also say the answer is he vishwapaha. Somebody who asked for a clarification, the answer for this one is he vishwapaha, because in he vishwapaha there is no lopa of the sambhuti pratyaya, right? We considered if He Rama is possible, but so far I haven't found a reason to separate He Rama. Right. Okay, so there seem to be some other answers for. Okay. Can we say na vibhaktau tusmaha doesn't act only on au? Interesting. That is also possible. This one. So just shas and have sakara and makara, because of which na vibhaktau tusmaha applies for all three, whereas it does not apply for au. Okay. So another possible answer is au. Considering the other three as dvitiya vibhakti, we cannot do it. I mean, that is not there because au and jas are prathama vibhakti, and shas are dvitiya. Or okay, au and shas, but the dvitiya vibhakti pratyaya is the out, right? So when we have that, the au here is a this one. So quite a few people seem to have thought of that. Au vihaya anyatra na vibhaktau tusmaha. Possible, yes. So that is something which I did not think of, but it is valid. Au being ekal and others are anekal. So there are a lot of possibilities here for picking out. So if any of you have picked out, please let me know. If you want, I'll allot a mark. I cannot go through everybody and check who has out. It's very painful. But if you have picked out on any of these reasons, please let me know. So the answer I meant was based on Sarvanamasthana, right? So based on Sarvanamasthana, Shas is the answer. But since this is just trying to find out what is the common factor. When I say odd man out, it is possible to think in multiple ways. Okay. So we are just trying to think what are the different ways in which you can look at it. When you just look at a set of 4 things, so different people think in different ways. It is good to understand what are the different ways in which something can be approached. So this one which says in these questions it will be good to have a comment option to add justification for the answer. Possibly, but see, the point is that then it will become that somebody has to look at it and then decide whether it is correct or not, which is very difficult, like, with 200 people attempting it. So unless it is possible to have these auto evaluated, it is very difficult to process the papers. Okay, so that is why the discussion, so we can understand it at a bigger level. Anyway, we will move ahead. The last one among the odd man out. Sarvanamasthanam, Apraktam, Ghi and Vibhakti. Right. Sundari.
घी इति समूहे तदपदं तत्तु अङ्गमस्ति शब्द अन्ये त्रयः तु प्रत्ययः
सम्यक्. So the other 3 are samyas for the pratyaya part of it, right? So sarvanamassthanam, apraktam and vibhakti, all of them are samyas for the pratyaya part, whereas ghi is the prakriti or the shabda gets the ghi samya. Any other possibilities here? Vibhakti is pratyaya, others samya. Vibhakti is also a samya. Right? So vibhakti is a samya for specific pratyayas. So pratyayas and ting pratyayas. Right? So aprakta is a samya for a pratyaya which has only a single al. Sarvanamasthana is a samya for pratyayas which is sut or she, right? So all 3 are samyas. So yeah, I understand, but we cannot justify by saying vibhakti is pratyaya and the others are samyas. All are some pratyayas basically. There is one more which says vibhakti is for whole sup, others are for specific. So again, I mean, if you take it as sup, I mean, what is whole is a question. I mean, you have a bigger subset of pratyayas. So among the pratyayas, some pratyayas are called vibhakti, some are called aprakta, and some are called sarvanamasthana. Can we say that there is ekal in aprakta and not so in the rest of the three? Again, that's a very questionable this. I mean, ghisamya can be for an ekal. Like, it doesn't matter if you just have e, it can have ghisamya basically. So okay, so we will go ahead. I think this 31 to 35 is a direct question on the sutrartha. So if you just look up the sutra, you will have it. Again, from 36 there were some questions, so we will take that. Samana karya vidhayakani sutra yugalani chinuta. Which of these pairs of sutras give the same karya? So what is the karya being given by the sutra should be the same. The sthani is different, nimitta is different, that is all known. I mean, if it is the same sthani, same nimitta, then I mean, you cannot have two different sutras giving the same karya. So where the operation or the karya is the same. For example, supicha ityanena kim vidhiyate, dirghaha vidhiyate. Nami ityanena kim vidhiyate, dirghaha vidhiyate. Both of these are sutras which give dirgha. Therefore, this is correct. When we take osicha gives an ekaradesha. Bahuvachane jhalyet also gives an ekaradesha. So therefore, both these are samana karya vidhayakani. If we look at Prathamayo Purva Savarnaha, it gives a Purva Savarna Dirgha as the Adesha, whereas Amipurvaha gives Purva Rupam as the Adesha. So there with Karya is not the same, and therefore this is not the valid answer. Supicha again gives a Dirgha, whereas Bahuvachane Jhalyet gives an Ekaradesha. So this is not correct. Gher Niti gives a guna, Jasicha also gives a guna. So the intent in this is only the karya which is considered. Both of them are guna vidhayaka sutras. Nasinga Soscha gives purva rupam, whereas Khyatiyat Parasya gives an ukaradesha. So that is also not correct. These three are the pairs of sutras which have a similar karya. The next one, Vidhi Sutrani. So Ato Dhatoho. Sorry. So Ato Dhatoho is a Vidhi Sutra which gives Akara Lopa. Nami is a Vidhi Sutra which gives a Dirgha. And then Shadbhyo Luk is again a Vidhi Sutra which gives the Luk. Luk is also a Vidhana. Luk Vidhanam. Sakhyura Sambuddhau is an Atidesha Sutra. It does not give any karya. It causes no modification. Pratyayaha is a Samgya Adhikara. It again does not add any pratyaya or do anything by itself. Pratyaya Lope Pratyaya Lakshanam is a Paribhasha. It again does not do any karya. So three sutras are the Vidhi Sutras. Kebhyaha parasya am pratyayasya nudagamaha bhavati. So harasva nadyapo nut. So we have for Rama, for Sakhi, and for Hari, because all three are so far harasvanta. In the next chapter we will see for other this ones. Whereas for Sarva, Vishwapa and Dvi, you will not get the Nudagama. So Sarva, because there is Ami Sarvanamnaha Sutta. Vishwapa, because it is a Dirgha, there is no Nudagama. Dvi does not have Bahuvachana Pratyaya at all, and therefore there is no Am and no Nudana. So there is this question here. If you can give the number of correct answers, it will be great. Right. So that is the whole intent of the question. Right. I mean, yes, I understand. It will be definitely easier if I give how many correct answers are expected. But my intention is to make sure you know all 6. So, or whatever the options given, unless you have clarity about all the 6 answer options, you will not be able to select the correct answers. So that is the intention of the question, honestly. Yes, it takes time and it is not possible to answer unless, I mean, even if you know Rama, Sakhi and Hari, if you don't know Sarva, you cannot eliminate it. If you don't know Dvi, you cannot eliminate it. Right? So that is probably the intention of the question. So again, Kesham Yugalanam Rupani Sarvasu Vibhaktishu Paraspara Sadrishani. Which pairs have the same forms in all vibhaktis, or similar forms, not the same, forms similar to each other in all vibhaktis. Right? So Sakhi and Pati do not, because Sakhi has special things in Sarvanamasthana. Vishwapa and Haha do not, because Vishwapa gets Sato Dhatoho Lopa, whereas Haha does not. Atithi and Dhanapati, both of them have Khi Samya, and therefore the forms are similar to each other. So Dvi and Ubha, so even though Dvi starts off with Ikaranta, it gets A by Tyadarinam Aha, and the forms are similar to Ubha. So that is also Nityat Vivachana, and all the forms are similar. So it is not, the question does not ask where only same sutras apply. Right? So it says the forms should be similar to each other. So similarly for Purva and Antara, all forms are similar, assuming Sarvanamasthana Samya. Of course, that is assumed because, or if both of them do not have Sarvanamasthana Samya, then also their forms are similar. Right. Prathama and Rama do not have similar forms because Prathama gets an optional Sarvanama Samya in Jas, and therefore has Prathame Prathamaha, whereas Rama has only Ramaha. Yes, so there's a question on 39. Kumaraswamy Mahodaya.
Namaste. Okay, you answered my question. So it assumes we have Sarvanamas Sangna there.
Both. Yes.
I couldn't sleep on Sunday night. That's the only question I missed.
Oh, okay.
My wife kept saying, you know, Sowmya Bhagini doesn't make mistakes. So. So anyway, my answer was wrong because Prathama and Rama would also have the same problem that Purva and Antara would have. So in any case, my answer was wrong. So thank you.
So, okay. The last one. Eteshu kesham sutranam pravrittihi adanteshu eva bhavati. So somebody pointed out I should have been clearer, could have been clearer at this by saying adanta angeshu eva bhavati. So my intention was that which of these apply only for adanta angas, and therefore the answers which were given were supicha, osicha, and tangasingasa minatsyaha. Right? So all these three apply only for the adanta angas. So most of you have interpreted the question that way and answered it that way, I guess. There was somebody who raised adanta shabda So if you assume that as for a shabda which starts out as being adanta, see supija and osija also apply for dvi shabda. After it becomes adanta, of course, you have tyadadinam aha and it becomes adanta, and thereafter we have supija and osija. But somebody thought that way, that it is not originally an adanta shabda, but still they are applying. Whereas Tangasingasaminatsyaha is seen purely in Adanta Shabdas. So with what we have seen, it is correct. But again, we will see cases like say Yena, Tena, etc., where Tangasingasaminatsyaha is also not, it doesn't expect originally Adanta Shabda. There is no sutra which applies purely for an Adanta Shabda, because it's always the Anga which matters. So once you do an Adesha, for example, we have Yad Shabda, there again we have Tyadadinam Aha, and you get Ya, and after that we do apply Tangasingasam Minatsyaha. Right? So the intention of the question was Adanta Anga. So in which case Supija, Osija and Tangasingasaminatsyaha are the correct answers. Okay, I think that's it. The other one is all, the next section was purely repeated questions only and deliberately. So I just wanted to see if those practice exercises help and in what way. So it is all direct prakriya. I don't think there is a problem with any of it. Is there any other question you wanted to discuss here? If not, we will go to the descriptive paper. So before you ask, it will take a few weeks for me to correct the descriptive papers and give the marks. Okay. So hopefully by the end of in another month I should be able to do it. Okay. I will try to do it slightly earlier if possible, but let me have a deadline of end of April. I will evaluate and send back the papers. I will also inform you once the this thing is done. Okay. So here I think we only need to discuss the first section, because the second and third were all very easy. And again, for model answers, I don't think I need to give for this, because these are already covered, right? Arthavadadhatara pratyaya pratipadikam purvaparavara halnyabhyaha, all of them are covered in the chapter ending exercise, right? The descriptive exercise, and the prakriya is fully available in the slides everywhere. Right? The whole prakriya is also there. So there was nothing special about those. It is just to see how well you can present the answers. The first section we will see. So Rama Nityatra Nalopa Pratipadikantasya Ityanena Nalopaha Kutona Bhavati. Right? So why does Nalopa Pratipadikantasya not apply for Raman? It's a question. Anybody wants to answer? Yes. AK. Sorry, I forgot the name.
Hello.
Ashwina.
Yes, my hand was up because I had a doubt on one of those. Can I ask that now, or shall I hold off?
Sure. Yes, tell me.
It was for number 22, the one where it was at Nasi, and in the answer we talked about Navibhakta Utusmaha. You remember that one? So
Yes,
do we not need to bring up Lashakut Adite there at all? I mean, for the logic, do we not need Lashakut Adite?
No, yeah, I mean, it gets lashakvatadhite, itsamya bhavati. That is correct. The question is, the intention itsamya na bhavati. If I have to say there is no itsamya, it has to be by na vibhaktau tusmaha, which does not operate. But it is correct. I mean, it does get itsamya by na lashakvatadhite, and therefore this statement is false.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, anybody wants to answer for this one? रामान् इत्यत्र नलोपप्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इति किमर्थं न भवति? श्यामला भगिनी।
नमस्ते भगिनी।
Ah.
नलोप प्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इति सूत्रेण प्रातिपदिकसंज्ञकं यत् पदं तदन्तस्य नकारस्य लोपः भवति। यदि कश्चन प्रातिपदिकस्य पदसंख्या अपि भवति तर्हि तदन्तस्य नकारस्य लोपः स्यात् अनेन सूत्रेण। उदाहरणं राजन् प्लस् व्याम् इत्यत्र राजन् एतत् प्रातिपदिकं तु अस्ति एव, तथा च स्वादिश्व सर्वनामस्थाने इत्यनेन तस्य पदसंख्या अपि भवति। अतः राजन् इत्यस्य नकारस्य लोपे कृते राजभ्याम् इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति। राम इति प्रातिपदिकं शस् प्रत्ययः सौजस् इति, राम प्लस् अस् लशपदधते तस्य लोपः रामास् प्रथमयोः पूर्वसंबन्ध रामान् तस्मात् चसो नपुंसि इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति। राम इति प्रातिपदिकं रामान् इति द्वितीय बहुवचन रूपं सुबन्धं पदम्। अतः वर्तमानसूत्रेण रामान् इत्यत्र न लोपः न भवति।
Samyak, but the key point is it is not pratipadika. So that is the major Raman ityatra padasamya asti. Nalopa pratipadikantasya iti sutre pratipadika samyakam padam apekshyate. Atra padasamya asti kintu pratipadika samya Raman ityasya nasti. Only Rama is the pratipadika part of it. Raman is not pratipadika. And therefore there is no nalopa, right? So that is all is expected. So it was just, I mean, for this 2-3 sentences, right? So right, if you are asked for a longer answer, you can explain the whole thing. Kintu atra Ramaniti nakaraha pratipadika Ramanityasya pratipadika samya nasti ityeva uttaram. विश्वपा जस् इत्यत्र आतो धातोः इत्यनेन आकारलोपः किमर्थं न भवति? विजयलक्ष्मी भगिनी।
नमस्ते भगिनी। आतो धातोः इति सूत्रं भसम्यक अङ्गस्य विषये एव प्रवर्तते। अत्र जस् इत्यस्य सुडनपुंसकस्य इति सूत्रेण सर्वनामसम्यकम् अस्ति। अतः अत्र प्रकृतसूत्रस्य प्रसक्तिरेव नास्ति।
सो भसम्या नास्ति। किमर्थं? भसम्यायां सर्वनामस्थान भिन्न यजादि स्वादि प्रत्ययाः अपेक्ष्यन्ते। अत्र जस् प्रत्ययस्य सर्वनामस्थान संज्ञा अस्ति, भसम्या न भवति। अतः आतो धातोः इत्यस्य प्रसक्तिः नास्ति। भवता लिखिते उत्तरे दोषः अस्ति। अत्र स्मिन् आदेशः भवति वा न वा, किमर्थम्? शुभदा भगिनी।
प्रयत्नं करोमि भगिनी। मम उत्तरं तु पूर्वपरावर दक्षिणोत्तरापराधराणि व्यवस्थायाम संज्ञायाम् इति सूत्रेण उत्तर इति शब्दस्य सर्वनामसंज्ञा भवति यदि अयं शब्दः व्यवस्थायाम् असंज्ञायां च वर्तते। तदा एव ङी प्रत्यये परे ङसिञ्योः स्मात्स्मिनौ इत्यनेन उत्तरस्मिन् इति शब्दं निष्पन्नं भवेत्। परन्तु अस्मिन् उदाहरणे तु उत्तर इति संज्ञा अस्ति। प्रश्नस्य समाधानम् इत्यर्थः। अतः तस्य सर्वनामसंज्ञा न भवति। तस्मात् कारणात् तस्य उत्तरे इत्येव एकमेव रूपम्।
सम्यक्
इति मया लिखितम्। धन्यवादः।
तदेव अत्र व्यवस्था इति नास्ति। तत्र रेफरेन्स् पायिण्ट् देशकृता कालकृता वा सा एव व्यवस्था इत्युच्यते। अत्र तादृशी व्यवस्था नास्ति इत्यतः सर्वनामसंज्ञा न भवति। सर्वनामसंज्ञा न भवति इति कारणेन स्मिन् आदेशः भवितुं नार्हति इति उत्तरम्। हरि ओस् इत्यत्र ओसि च इति सूत्रस्य प्रवृत्तिः कुतो न भवति? बहु सरलम् इदम्। I think one of the easiest. Mahalakshmi.
नमस्ते।
ओसि च इति सूत्रे अतः इति अनुवृत्तिः अस्ति, अङ्गस्य इति अधिकारः, तस्य अतः अदन्तस्य अङ्गस्य ओस् प्रत्यये परे एकादेशः भवति इति। अतः हरि प्लस् ओस् इत्यत्र अस्य सूत्रस्य प्रवृत्तिः नास्ति।
सम्यक्। अदन्तस्य अङ्गस्यैव ओसि च इत्यनेन एकारादेशः, अत्र अङ्गम् अदन्तं नास्ति, अतः प्रवृत्तिर्न भवति। अन्तिमः प्रश्नः। त्रिशब्दः. It's a hypothetical question. There are some people who wrote saying they could not understand what exactly it was. So if three shabda were placed in the sarvadigana, three shabdah sarvadigane nasti, right? So sarva, vishwa, ubha, ubhaya iti list madhye three shabdah nasti. So you have eka and dvi. Three is not included in the sarvadigana. If three were included in the sarvadigana and again outside the tyadadi, right? Not in tyadad, tyatad, yad, etad. So that is just, so assuming, say for example, after sarva you have the three shabda, what would happen in the subanta rupa? We have the subanta rupas of three shabda. So trayaha, trin, tribhihi, tribhyaha, tribhyaha, trayanam and trishu. What would be the effect on the subanta rupas of three shabda if hypothetically it was placed in the sarvadigana? Sarvadigane yadi trishabdasya grahanam kriyate tarhi doshah bhavati va. Will any form get affected? How? That is the question. Nalini भगिनी।
नमस्ते भगिनी। रूपेषु भेदः नास्ति इत्येव मम उत्तरम्। यतः तत्र नित्यबहुवचनशब्दम् अस्ति, अतः जसषि इत्यनेन तत्र षि आदेशः न भवति, यत्र अदन्त अङ्गम् अत्र अपेक्ष्यते। त्रिशब्दः तु अदन्त अङ्गं नास्ति। त्रयस्त्रयः अपि अत्र भवति। अदन्त अङ्गम् इति तत्र सर्वनाम्न आमि सर्वनाम्न सुटु इत्यनेन अपि अदन्त अङ्गम् अपेक्ष्यते। यद्यपि अदन्ताङ्गम् अस्ति, त्रयस्त्रयः इति तस्य विशिष्टसूत्रमस्ति इत्यपि कारणमस्ति, अतः तत्र अपि न भवति। अतः रूपेषु भेदः न भवति इति मम उत्तरम् आसीत्।
अन्येषाम् अन्यत् किमपि उत्तरमस्ति वा?
मम अन्य प्रश्नः अस्ति, परन्तु अधुना तत्र वदामि वा पृच्छामि वा?
समाप्य तत् पश्यामः। अस्तु, अन्ये केपि? So is this fine or not? Yes, Varun Mahodaya.
नमो नमः। भगिनी श्रूयते वा?
श्रूयते।
मम उत्तरमस्ति त्रिशब्दः सर्वादिगणे अन्तर्भवेत् चेत् तस्य आमि प्रे त्रयेषां कनिष्ठं षष्ठी बहुवचनान्तरूपं सिद्ध्येत्। कथम् इति चेत् त्रि आम् इति स्थिते त्रयस्त्रयः इति त्रिशब्दस्य आमि परे त्रयादेशे कृते त्रय आम् इति अत्र त्रिशब्दः सर्वादिगणे अन्तर्भावात् सर्वनाम संज्ञा संज्ञा भवेत्। यदि यदि त्रिशब्दाः सर्वादिगणे अन्तर्भवेत् तस्य सर्वनाम संज्ञा भवेत्। स्थानिवद्भावात् त्रय इति आदेशभूत शब्दस्वरूपस्य अपि सर्वनाम संज्ञा भवेत्।
अतः त्रयेषाम् इति रूपं स्यात्।
तथा आमि सर्वनाम सुट् इति सुडागमे कृते ततश्च बहुवचने जल्यते इति एते कृते आदेश प्रत्ययो इति सकारस्य ईशत्वे कृते त्रयेषाम् इति अनिष्टं रूपं।
Any other answers? पवमान महोदय।
नमस्ते। यद् महोदयेन उक्तं तदेव मयापि चिन्तितं। स्थानिवद्भावेन तस्यापि सर्वनाम्नः सुडि इति त्रयेषाम् इति अनिष्टं रूपं सिद्ध्यति इति एव मम चिन्तनापि आसीत्।
सम्यक्। Okay. Somebody says prathama bahuvachane दोषः स्यात्। कथं प्रथमा बहुवचने किं स्यात्? Any other answers? Right. So यथा वरुण महोदयेन उक्तं त्रयस्त्रयः इत्यनेन त्रयादेशे कृते अदन्तत्वात् आमिसर्वनाम्नः सुट् इत्यनेन सुडागमस्य प्रसक्तिः भवेत्. We do see that in other cases like yad shabda. Again, if I say yad, we get tyadadina maha and then it becomes ya. After that we get like sarvesham, we get yesham. Right? So there are other sarvanamas also where even if you do an adesha and then it becomes adanta, there is nothing which prevents ami sarvanamna sut from operating, because it says adantat sarvanamnaha. Adantat parasya sarvanamno vihitasya amaha sudagamaha. So the moment we have tres trayaha and it becomes akaranta, then you have this one. So trayesham would be the only case where there would be a problem. Right? In jas we would not have a problem because jasashi is adantat sarvanamnaha, tri is not adanta, and therefore jasashi will not operate. Right? So there is also somebody who says triyaihi. I didn't understand. Just a moment. Yes, Hamsa Bhagini, you have a question. Please unmute yourself.
Namaste Bhagini, can you hear me?
Yes.
I was thinking for this question that if it doesn't, if it has Sarvanama form, then the linga wise forms we will not get, no? Trayaha, Tisraha, and Trini.
Yeah, I mean, we will have three chaturoho striyam tisra chatasra. So that strilinga, three will get tisra, right? So that doesn't depend on being sarvanama or not. So tisra adesha will happen. What happens later with the tisra shabda, we will have to see, because we haven't yet seen the forms of tisra shabda. Will it get affected? That is different. So this question is only about the sarvanama, the subanta forms of three shabda in pullinga, of course, because we have still studied only that. Even in napumsakalinga it would be the same, that trayanam will get trayesha. Okay.
Then I thought it like that and I answered. Maybe it's wrong. Thank you, Bhagini.
Bhis pratyaya, there will be no change because you have three and bhis. Again, it is not adanta, and therefore atobhisa is will not apply. think Trestrayah is specific to three shabda, so we cannot prevent Trestrayah from acting. Yes, it is Parasutra, even if it is not Parasutra, because it is very specific to three shabda and Am Pratyaya. We definitely have to apply Trestrayah, but there is nothing which prevents Ami Sarvanamna Sutta from acting after Trestrayah. That is the key point. Okay. So I think that is it. Does anybody else? Yes, Nalini Bhagini had a question. Yes.
Bhagini, in the third question, you have asked in the Uttarapada smatsminadeshah nasinyoho iti sutrat, parantu पूर्वादिभ्यो नवभ्यो वा इत्यनेन एव भवितुम् अर्हति किल तत्र किमर्थं नसिंयोः स्मात्सिनौ इति सूत्रेण भवति वा इति उक्तं पृष्टम् इति
सत्यं तत्तु अस्ति तत्र स्मिन्नादेशः भवति वा इति पूर्वादिभ्यो नवभ्यो वा इति सत्यं so the intent there was on the स्मिन्नादेश यदि भवति तर्हि अपि पूर्वादिभ्यो नवभ्यो वा इत्यनेन सत्यं
तदेव अन्यद्
क्षम्यतां वदतु
क्षम्यतां भगिनी तत्र परीक्षायां नास्ति परन्तु अन्यत् प्रश्नमस्ति पृच्छामि वा तत्र नामी इति सूत्रं किमर्थम् आवश्यकम् इति चेत् तत्र नुडागमः ह्रस्वस्य बाधकं न करोति यतः नामी इति सूत्रस्य अपेक्षा अस्ति इति उक्तं किल तत्र सुपि च इत्यनेन न भवति अङ्गस्य दीर्घः परन्तु एतदेव तत्र सुडागमे अपि भवति किल परन्तु तत्र सकारः एव बहुवचने झल्येत् इत्यस्य सूत्रस्य प्रसक्तिः तत्र सकारस्य भवनात् एव तत्रापि अदन्तम् अङ्गम् अपेक्ष्यते परन्तु तदेव तस्य परिवर्तनम् अपि करोति
सन्निपातलक्षणपरिभाषा अनित्या इति अस्ति अत एव तस्याः परिभाषायाः विषये महान् विचारः महाभाष्येऽपि कृतः सा परिभाषा सर्वत्र न प्रवर्तते इत्येव तत्र वदन्ति तत्र वस्तुतः रामाय इत्यत्रापि एव सुपि च इति सूत्रेणैव दीर्घः अस्माभिः क्रियते तत्रापि अदन्तम् अङ्गमाश्रित्य ङेः आदेशः कृतः तत्रापि सुपि च इत्यनेनैव दीर्घः क्रियते सन्निपातविघातः बहुत्र दृश्यते तत्र परिभाषायाः अनित्यत्वं भाष्यकारेण उक्तमस्ति तत्र पाणिनेः निर्देशः अस्ति कष्टाय क्रमणे इति ज्ञापकमस्ति अन्यदपि आश्रित्य परिभाषायाः अनित्यत्वम् उच्यते नामी इत्यस्य मुख्यं प्रयोजनं तु अन्यत्रापि दीर्घः अपेक्ष्यते किल हरीणाम् इत्यत्रापि नामी इति यत्र यत्र नुडागमः क्रियते तत्र दीर्घः अपेक्ष्यते हरीणां गुरूणां तदर्थं मुख्यतः नामी इति सूत्रस्य निर्माणम् अत्रापि तस्य प्रवृत्तिः भवति सामान्यतः स्वीक्रियते
अस्तु भगिनि अन्यदपि तत्र उत्सर्ग अपवाद व्यवस्थायां प्रथमयोः पूर्वसवर्णः इत्यत्र प्रथमा द्वितीया विभक्त्योः एव प्रवर्तते अकस्सवर्णे दीर्घः तु यदि सवर्णः अस्ति अत्र एव प्रवर्तते अत्र कथं तत्र निर्णयः भवति भगिनी अकस्सवर्णे दीर्घः इत्यस्य स्कोप् बृहत् अस्ति प्रथमयोः पूर्वसवर्णयोः इत्यत्र तु न्यारो अस्ति इति कथं सम्यक् ज्ञातुं शक्नुमः
तत्र केस् बै केस् द्रष्टव्यं भवति यत्र यत्र उदाहरणार्थं किं भवति तत्र नादिचि इति सूत्रेण अन्येषु परेषु प्रथमयोः पूर्वसवर्णः इत्यत्र प्रसक्तिः नास्ति avaranaat avarane pare eva pratamayoh purvasavarnah ityasya prasakti. Right? So by nadichi, the moment you have any other ach, right, pratamayoh purvasavarnah does not operate. So what we have now is whenever you have a plus a, right? So a akarad akarah paratah asti chet sarvatrapi akasavarne dirghah ityasya prasaktihi asti. Satyam. Kintu pratamayoh purvasavarnah ityasya prasaktihi in the context of akara and akara. When akara is the purva varna is only in prathama and dvitiya vibhakti. And that is also in between we also have the ato gune, right? So you will have to analyze, take it as a case by case and see which is broader and which is narrower. The whole domain if we take, it may not be fully overlapping, but in the particular context when you have a and a, akasavarne dirghaha does not expect any extra nimitta. Ato gune expects apadanta akara with a, whereas prathamayo purvasavarnah expects prathama dvitiya vibhakti only. Right? So in the context of a plus a, savarna dirgha is very wide, ato gune is narrower, and prathamayo purvasavarnah is even more narrow.
Astu. So niravakashatvam is for again case by case basis, not in the
not the whole domain always.
Astu Bhagini. Dhanyavada.
Astu. So there are a few more questions. Before that, so before that, there's one thing which a lot of people asked: what was the general performance level of the exam? So this is the statistics. Among the live students, there were about 172 people who took the test. There were also around 30 people who have taken it from those who don't attend live but who are following only through recordings, right? So about 200 people in all have taken. And I must say, I am personally very happy that performance is extremely good. As you can see, more than 95 people have scored above 90%, and similarly a very significant number above 80%. So punah punaha abhyasena siddhyati. So I am very happy about the general performance in the test. So we will also be seeing on what we can do to support those who are trying but who need a bit more clarity in the concepts. So again, this is purely not to please understand always the purpose of any exam or any test I said is not the marks as such, right? So but that the whole purpose is to promote repeated relook at the Shastra. It is only as we keep moving ahead, we keep revising and relooking, that the concepts get settled into the mind. So that is the reason why we are having these periodic tests, and I really hope all of you take it in the right spirit, right? So if you have scored well, very good. So let that be an incentive to continue the hard work. So we are entering ikarantas, which definitely not easy, right? So as we move ahead, it will be much more interesting and also more complicated, definitely. I mean, it's all new, right? So it can be an incentive. If you have scored less, again, it is just an incentive to work hard, and you can always reach out to me personally if you have any questions, wherever you need any clarity on the concepts. So thank you very much. Let's hope we continue to enjoy the second chapter. Okay. Now there are a few more questions. Kasyapi kopi prashnah asti chet, you can ask a few more minutes. So there are a few questions which I'll answer, but if you have to leave, please feel free to leave. हरि स हरेस् अत्र आदेशप्रत्यययोः इति किमर्थं न प्रवर्तते? Right? So आदेशप्रत्यययोः is in the tripadi, right? 8, 3, 59 is adesha pratyayoh. So in hari s prathamaika vachana, you have rutva happening in 8-2. Right? So in 8-2 itself, sakara is converted to ru. So there is no more sakara. Adesha pratyayoh is asiddha. So it cannot happen before rutva. Right? And in Sambodhana, the pratyaya is deleted in the Sapada Saptadhyayi itself, right? He Hare Eng Hrasvat Sambodhehe is in the Sapada Saptadhyayi. So again there Shatva is Asiddha. So that is why the Shatva happens only if Sakara survives till then. So the placement of the Tripadi is nothing short of genius at the highest level, right? So Shatva is towards the end, because only if Sakara survives till the end, then it gets converted to Shakara. So there are many things which happen which can take away the Sakara or modify it before that. Jasi cha Ramashabde kimartham nasti. We have a general rule which says iko guna vridhi, where it is not specified. The guna or vridhi applies for ik letters. So in Rama, even if we do guna, we end up with the akara itself, because Rasva akara is antaratama. Therefore, you would have only a urandraparaha na bhavati. Why? Urandraparaha is only where we have a rikara. ऋकारस्य स्थाने यः अण् सः रपरः, आकारस्य स्थाने गुणः चेत् ह्रस्व आकार एव भवति. There would be no change. In general, all these guna vriddhi apply for the ik letters. Ubhakah ekavachana बहुवचन रूपाणि सन्ति वा? नास्ति. उभकौ उभकौ उभकाभ्याम ityeva. Ubhaka will also be only in dvivachana. यथा लुक् श्लू लुपां भिन्न प्रयोजनानि सन्ति, विभाषा वा अन्यतरस्याम् एतेषामपि अर्थभेदः अस्ति वा? नास्ति. मया पूर्वमपि उक्तं, सांप्रदायिकरीत्या वा विभाषा अन्यतरस्याम् इत्यत्र कोऽपि भेदः नास्ति. We don't recognize any difference between those three terms. It is just option. अतोभिस ऐस् ऐस् प्रत्ययस्य सकारलोपः. तत्र न विभक्तौ तु स्मः. We need a vibhakti pratyaya, because vibhakti pratyaya is not an alvidhi. We do have sthanivat bhava. Sthanivat bhavena saha vibhakti pratyayah. Atah na vibhaktau tu smaha ityanena sakarah sakaralopah. Sakarasya itsamya na bhavati. Susakhi is out of syllabus for Laghu Kaumudi, so I will skip that question now. So will it be uploaded, this session? Yes, it will be uploaded. The answers, they are all given in the test paper itself, right? And if you go back and review, you will be able to see the answers. Okay, अस्तु तर्हि मिलामः. We will meet next week in the live session. येनाक्षरसमाम्नाय अधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयं. नत्वा सरस्वतीं देवीं शुद्धां गुण्यां करोम्यहं. पाणिनीयप्रवेशाय लघुसिद्धान्तकौमुदीं